back to the Card Show. We have your early morning headlines, and we have breaking news. Seems like just yesterday they were talking about J.J. Redick zeroing in to be the Lakers head coach, but no. Now Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Lakers are putting together a package deal that is long and lucrative for UConn coach Danny Hurley to become the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. There's a lot of angles we can go with this, Craig, but I'll start with you. Do you think it will work? Because oftentimes it fails when a basketball coach transitions from college prominence to try to make it in the
Yeah, well,
NBA.
listen, he's not going to forget how to coach, right? But to guarantee the success he's had now at UConn, you can't do that. We can't say, oh, getting Danny Hurley immediately equates to championships. You guys obviously know better than anyone how hard it is to win championships at any level, NBA especially. Like the Denver Nuggets aren't repeating as NBA champions, right? The Celtics haven't won a title with this group of guys, so it's not easy to just roll the ball out there and say, well, now you've got a really good coach. You're immediately going to win 20 more games and go to an NBA Finals. The reality is that the far majority of big-name, well-known head coaches at the college level who had success, who then went to the NBA, have never come close to matching their collegiate success. Larry Brown's the best of the bunch, having won with multiple teams, obviously, and had a very long, illustrious career. You know, Billy Donovan won back-to-back national championships at Florida, barely a 500 coach in the NBA. Brad Stevens has less of a resume at college than some of those guys do. Rick Pitino is one of the top 5 college coaches of all time. A major failure at the NBA level with multiple NBA franchises. Calipari, I mean, half as much from a winning percentage standpoint. So it does not equate. And the reason it doesn't equate is that when you're the coach of young men, and most of those guys all coach pre-NIL and pre-transfer portal, where kids weren't getting paid legally, right? You can talk to them in a certain manner. When you get to the pro level, you're talking about adult men who make a lot more money than you make. You cannot talk to guys like that the same way you talk to an 18-year-old kid.
They're not going to respond to you.
Correct.
They're going to look at you like you crazy. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? This is the NBA, and we can't play like that. We can't do what you ask us to do. We don't even know how to equate to what you're talking about. And that's the way it is. If you look at all those guys, except for Larry Brown, he won a championship in the NBA. With the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
But you know, me personally, I think, you know, LeBron and AD had to sign off on this, and I think that LeBron understands that I think that this is what the team wants, and he's aptitude to understanding that he wants to stay at LA and he wants to do whatever it takes for them to win. And I think this is the right move for the LA Lakers and to bring in a guy that knows how to coach. Like you're gonna bring in somebody that don't have no coaching resume, has not called one timeout. This guy has a pedigree. He won 2 back-to-back championships. He understands what it takes to win. Like you said, he's not gonna come in and win a championship right away, but he will have the respect of the team, and they will understand that he has been there.
Now let me walk you through Danny Hurley contraction just real quick. A year ago, June, Danny Hurley signed a 5-year extension at UConn before the second of his back-to-back championships, making $6 million a year, putting him in the upper echelon of college coaches, of course, and he's building a dynasty. In April of this year, after, of course, winning the national championship for the second time, he said, my only focus now is on a three-peat and building a dynasty. But this is another great example of how money talks. Remember when the Kentucky job opened up and everybody said, Danny Hurley, leave UConn, go to Kentucky, have a 20-year career in Kentucky, go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. He half-jokingly said, I don't want to get divorced. Right. And my wife's a Jersey girl. Right. Going to Rhode Island was tough. Going to UConn was tough. And I just started making money. And I don't want to get divorced just yet. I'm not moving my wife to Kentucky because she's an East Coast girl. Right. Well, LA is another 1,000 miles away. Now, which is why
great weather.
Which is why the report of a massive contract.
Right.
If you're making $6 million a year and UConn recognizes we've probably got to rip that contract up and pay you $8 or $9, $10 million bucks a year, I can't imagine what the LA Lakers would be offering Danny Hurley to convince him and his wife and family to go from the East Coast to the West Coast.
When I look at Danny Hurley being the head coach at UConn right now, he's in a controlled environment. Regardless of the NIL, if guys want to get into the portal, he has the authority to accept or bring that player or those guys in. In reference to the NBA, he has zero control once he gets to the LA Lakers. And Tim can attest to this. Those kids have bought in to what Danny Hurley's selling. You know, it's easy to play for a coach that you like and you love to play for. You play harder. You give everything you have. You know, you'll jump in front of the sword or whatever the case may be. And they are being rewarded with championships, so they see the results. But when you go into the NBA, you don't have that same level of, you know, passion from the guys buying into a coach who had, just because he won 2 national championships in college, that they are going to buy into what he's coaching.
Yeah, and I can just tell you, as a guarantee, he can't have the same success right away with the Lakers as he's had the last 2 years with UConn because, you know, it's a talent-based deal. And the LA Lakers do not have enough talent right now today to win an NBA championship. They just don't. And there's no guarantee LeBron comes back. I know you guys think he's going to come back, but he exercised that option. He's not under contract right now to play for the Los Angeles Lakers, so maybe he decides to go elsewhere. Maybe Danny Hurley takes the job and doesn't want LeBron James. We don't know. That wouldn't make sense to most people.
No, that wouldn't make sense.
But the reality is that he's going to be there longer than LeBron's going to be there. And if you're going to bring a guy like Danny Hurley in, it's no longer the vision of Rob Pelinka. It's no longer the vision of the Buss family. Now it's Hurley's vision. Because if you're going to give the guy 7, 8 years, $15 million a year, it's got to be what he wants. And I don't know what he wants because I never thought for a minute that Danny Hurley was going to leave UConn to take the Laker job. Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming.
Especially with him being the coach at UConn, you have guys that want to be there.
Yes.
You know, I've been in certain situations where, you know, I've been coached by, you know, certain coaches, and you'd be like, man, I just heard too much about him. I don't want to be here anymore because he's the coach.
Right.
And that translates more into professional sports than it is college because he's in a controlled environment, and those kids want to be at UConn and play for him.
Yeah, them kids that's transferring want to go there because they know what an accomplished coach he is and how he developed kids, and they want to play in that environment. It's hard work playing in that environment, but you know what? It's fun. They have fun.
Too.
It's rewarding, but they have fun. You could tell that the kids, when they was playing, they was having fun. They was enjoying the game because they was playing hard. He had them playing hard, and he had them loose. He had them loose, and he had them playing the right way.
Well, I also remember this, though, Tim. In the first game of the tournament this past year, up 35 at halftime, he was livid. If you remember, because we should have been up 40.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, but you know what? He didn't go into. He could say that to you all, but he went in that locker room and said, look, y'all know we should be up 40. We should be up 50. We should probably be up about 60. But you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go out here and we're going to keep playing our game. We just going to keep getting better and better and better. That's what you got to learn as a coach. You can't keep pounding the kids over the head. He just told us that. But when he went in that locker room, it was a little different.
Hey, the Los Angeles Lakers are just like the Dallas Cowboys from a media standpoint.
Yeah,
no question.
That's right. Right now, Danny Hurley is the king of basketball for the last 2 seasons. He's a god up in Connecticut.
That's right.
UConn. He leaves UConn and goes to the Lakers, and they talk about him and this basketball team every single day.
Yes.
Do you think he wants to put himself in a situation to leave being the man and the king
I'll tell you what it is, Plax.
UConn and
I can tell you what it is.
and be scrutinized and criticized every single day?
It's them dollars.
That's all it is right there. You guys see that or not?
Dollars.
It's a big dollar sign is what I made there.
I don't believe it's going to happen.
Look, why is Justin Jefferson a Minnesota Viking?
He's
because
a player.
he got a check for $88 million.
He's the best at what he does.
And if you're Danny Hurley, and let's even say he's making $6 million, if UConn said, look, we're going to give you 5 years, $50 million, $10 million a year, highest paid coach now in college basketball. Right. If the Lakers come in and go, we'll give you 10 years, $150 million, guess what? I'll take it.
That's a different story.
Big difference.
That's a
Yeah, and that's what it's going to be.
One of the things that Tim was mapping out, which I think is very important, is when you're a college coach, one of the main things you do is recruit. And you go to people, meet people's families, and then they choose to play for you. In the transfer portal, they choose to play for you. They see it as an opportunity to play for Danny Hurley. Yeah. In the pros, it's an opportunity for Danny Hurley to coach the Lakers.
Right.
They didn't choose for him to be the coach, per se, unless you're one of the star players. And I think that's going to be one of the main adjustment points for Hurley.
Yeah, I'd also say this. The Lakers don't have any shine anymore. Let's stop talking about the Lakers like it's the Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Lakers. They haven't been that in a very, very long time. They've got the name, and they're living off the name. But it's a bad basketball.